I'm Dr. Pradeep Chalil. I did my PhD in cancer biology and then later in Roswell Park Cancer Institute, New York, Buffalo. And then I moved on to food research. For past 25 years I've been there and started a lab, Accurate Molecular Mutational Genomics, short form AMMAGENOMIcs. Now is fully operating in Chennai also. And here more than human genetic tests and biochemical tests, I think more valuable is in testing human microbiota, that is bacteria mostly present in our large intestine. This is very important for health and disease as well as for diagnostics and prognostic purposes. We also started oorjv, a food certification company testing for healthy foods. Everyone asks what is the difference between other labs and AMMAGENOMICS lab. Every test that is done in other labs we also do, but we also do some special tests. What are these special tests? See, everybody wants to prevent diseases before it comes, but most of the lab tests that are done will tell only when the disease comes. For example, somebody wants to know if he has got diabetes. When they take the regular test, they say, okay, you are not diabetic, you are not diabetic. Then suddenly they say, yes, you are diabetic. They also take tests for cancer. Do I have cancer? No. No, and then suddenly they say yes, cancer has come. But what we do at AMMAGENOMICS, there are special tests where we can know before the disease manifests, so that we can intervene and change our lifestyle or food style and prevent the disease. That's the specialty of AMMAGENOMICS. Okay, after taking the test, what is the next step? This is what everybody asks. It's very easy. We are actually finding the root cause. Why this disease came? What is the cause behind this and how we can correct it? Now, many research studies done in Harvard, MIT, Stanford, like universities, what they are finding is what we are testing, and after that it is your choice. You can go for an allopathic treatment, or you can go for Ayurveda, Siddha, naturopathy, or we are also having a team to help you to change your lifestyle and food lifestyle. Even a small change will make a huge difference in your health condition. This is the most significant aspect of our testing, and through which cancer, diabetes, thyroid problem, infertility issues, autoimmune diseases, skin problem, any disease, even autism, psychiatry problem, all these we are able to help many patients. Our brain is almost like 1 kilo and 300 grams. Liver is almost like 1.5 kgs. Our heart is around 300 to 400 grams. The spleen and the pancreas, all these are like around 100 grams. But even our kidneys are only 200 to 300 grams. But there is a big organ which nobody is paying attention, but only recently there have been some research coming out, and now it is pouring out. But in AMMAGENOMICS lab, we are focusing on this 2 kg big organ. Where is it? It is in our large intestine. There are trillions of millions of bacteria in our large intestine, and they are having the remote control to completely control all the organs like thyroid, brain, heart, liver. Everything is under their control. Now there are good bacteria and bad bacteria. If there is a balance, then we have good health. But if the bad bacteria are more, then we undergo several diseases and illness. But the moment we switch over to the good bacteria, if we increase, then we get perfect health. Only if there are good bacteria, whatever treatment you undergo, you will see a difference. Otherwise, you will keep changing different treatments and you will not have any difference. But the moment you know which is the good bacteria, which is the bad bacteria, to change, all that we give help to our customers who take these tests. Most of us have a confusing question. If my dad and mom has diabetes, will I be diabetic? If my dad and mom had cancer, will I get cancer? If my dad and mom are in my family, there is autistic children or Down syndrome, will I get? All these doubts are there, but nobody really knows what the reality is, the truth is. We have to understand that human genetics have control only when we are growing in our mother's womb. Once we come out, that is after we are delivered to this world, then we are having a contact with the environment. All the microorganisms get into our body. Then in our gut and that is the intestine, those bacterial genetics is what is controlling us. Then no more our human genetics have a big control. Like we are born in a particular country, and there the party which rules only decides what to be done. Now if there is a lot of suffering and if we don't have good life, then what we can do is, it is not easy to get out of this country, but what we can do is we can exercise voting power. We vote and elect a good party which will do good for us. That's the only way. The same way, we cannot change our genetics, but one thing we can do, we can vote for good bacteria. How to bring good bacteria in our gut? The only thing is food. There are foods that will help the growth of good bacteria, and we have to avoid those food which will make the growth of bad bacteria. So like casting oats, we bring good bacteria into our body, then we will have a health. If not, people will run after different treatments, different doctors, different hospitals, and they say nothing helps. The reason is because as long as bad bacteria are there in the system, nothing is going to change. We can only bring the change by changing the food habits and food. That is why from olden days they say food is medicine. Now modern research also proves that food is medicine. Still, many of you are maybe wondering why we test this gut bacteria. See, it's very easy to understand. See, when somebody has a liver cirrhosis, what they do, they transplant a healthy liver to this diseased person and he will be all right. When somebody has a kidney problem, then what they do, from a healthy person, they take the kidney and do kidney transplantation. Now there is another new transplantation that is happening, that is called fecal transplantation, FMT. So what they do is they take the feces, the stool, what he passes in the toilet, that is what that is given in pill form or in tube, they will introduce into the body. It looks very, very disgusting, but you have to understand now the importance of gut bacteria, because the gut bacteria from a healthy person who is eating good healthy food and a healthy lifestyle, his stool is what being transplanted. So what we do at AMMAGENOMICS, we test these stool of the person and we find what is the percentage of good and bad bacteria. Instead of making the person to eat somebody's stool, we are suggesting what good food to eat, what food will change good to good bacteria. We also test the saliva, because in saliva millions of bacteria grow, good and bad go. Now we are, without our knowledge, we are swallowing almost 1 to 1.5 liters of saliva. It is going to change our gut. So we test the saliva also, we test the blood also, we test the stool also to know what percentage or how much balance of good bacteria and bad bacteria is there. So we do this by testing the polyphenols in food as well as in blood of the person also. So if we eat more polyphenol rich food, that will change good bacteria. Now how do we know polyphenol and antioxidant content? We do oorjv certified foods. We test for foods for polyphenol content and antioxidant content, and that certified food we are giving through Mitochondrial to several patients, and personalized testing and personalized treatment is what we are doing at AMMAGENOMICS. This is why it becomes a big success to treat any disease people are suffering from. Now when we have diseases, what we are told to do testing in labs is check for the vitamin D levels, check for the vitamin B12, folic acid, all that we do. But we are forgetting the most important thing to be tested, that is polyphenols and antioxidant levels. Why? What are these polyphenols? Now all the plants, whether they're spices, fruits, vegetables, grains, millets, all of them contain polyphenols. Now these polyphenols are produced by the plants for their own protection, because the plants are also attacked by viruses, bacteria and fungi. So what they do is these are the weapons, these are the AK-47 guns they use to defend themselves. Now when we eat those foods, polyphenol rich food, those also will protect us. We will be protected from virus, bacteria infections and fungal infections also. Now it is like making our soldiers to be in the borders without AK-47 gun. It is like asking a security guard to stand in the bank without a gun. Like that, what we are doing is we are removing these polyphenols from rice, black rice and red rice. We eat white rice. We polish the antioxidants, polyphenols from oil, and we use refined oils. We polish all the jaggery to white sugar, and we eat these white sugar. Same from wheat we polish, and we eat maida, parota, all these white stuffs we eat. So now what happens is we don't get enough protection from any defense, any infectious organisms. And also these foods are the prebiotics for growth of good bacteria. If we eat polyphenol rich food, we are supporting the growth of good bacteria. If we eat refined foods, then we are supporting the growth of bad bacteria. So for cancer, infertility, autism, psychiatric diseases, kidney failure, liver cirrhosis, thyroid, you name any disease, everything, polyphenols are the most important component that should be eaten. So that is why at AMMAGENOMICS we test for the blood of the patients how much polyphenol they have. We also test for semen or polyphenol level, because it's very important for fertility. The same way for cancer or any disease, we check these polyphenols level in the blood and also good bacteria in the gut. So this holistic approach only will help us to cure diseases and also prevent diseases and maintain good health. There are several children who are suffering from autism come to our lab, but it is very, very sad to see that most of them are coming after like 10, when they are 10 years old, 15 years old or 20 years old. If they had come earlier, these tests will help them a lot, like checking the gut microbiome. We can change it because there is a big connection between the gut and the brain, and how the hormones are secreted, how the blood is less in inflammation, everything we can detect. So now what we are seeing is we check the stool for the good bacteria improvement, and also in blood we look at the brain inflammation markers, etc. These will help along with hand activity, exercise, and also medicated oil massage. These have proven with many research studies that these change the healthy bacteria. And also sleep is very, very, very important. Most of these children from young age, when they have this autistic trait or attention deficiency or any psychiatric issues, the first thing is they have low sleep, disturbed sleep. One disturbed sleep itself will change the gut microbiome. So it is very, very important to have this holistic approach in dealing with these autistic or challenged children or psychiatric patients. Many people with cancer come to our lab. We also again suggest them to do gut bacteria test, blood test and all. Why? Because nobody knows that chemotherapy and radiation will kill only cancer cells, but cancer stem cells are not killed by chemo and radiation. Like we take a big axe and cut down a tree in our backyard, we completely destroy and think that the tree will never come back. but the axe will not cut very tiny seeds of the tree. They may be dispersed in a wind, and in the next rainy season more trees will grow. That is the same thing occurring in cancer also. As primary cancer will start in one organ like liver or breast, and then after some time chemo and radiation, they think that everything is gone, but these cancer stem cell will now sprout in different areas. Then that's what they call it as the cancer has spread to many areas and they can't do anything. But now in US, major big universities and cancer institutes, what they are doing is they are administering fecal transplantation along with cancer treatment. Now people are thinking, okay, if we do targeted therapy, immunotherapy, we can kill the cancer cells. There is a failure rate. That is why they are suggesting polyphenol rich food and fecal transplantation, because only the good bacteria can eradicate all these problems. So in AMMAGENOMICS, we test for all these and help the cancer patients to eradicate the cancer stem cells with this approach. So we say that you can do chemo, radiation, and with that the number of the side effects also is less. They also cure better, and there will be a complete cure with this, and the prognosis is also very good. Now in PET scan and other things, we will know only when there is a measurable growth in the cancer. But with these tests, we can see well in advance before they before they go into the cancer stage. Next, people also do more of the genetic test. For example, for breast cancer, they look whether the BRCA gene is mutated or not. But realistically, they cannot help much, because our genetic system is overpowered by the microbiota. That is why in US they give fecal transplantation along with these therapies. So more than genetic test, the microbiome and microbiota and polyphenol antioxidant tests are very vital for success of cancer treatment and cure, and also prevention. There are several people coming to our lab for infertility cases. Now what happens is, they may be trying for a natural birth and it fails. Then they go for IVF and other assisted very costly techniques, and still they are not getting good success. The reason is because nobody tests the real thing, that is the vaginal bacteria. If the vaginal bacteria is good, then everything will be good. But if they are not good, then even with IVF and all that, the fetus will be aborted in the vaginal because of the bad bacteria in the vaginal tract. The same way for semen also. A male may have very good semen count, very good motility, but still the pregnancy will not happen, because if there are more bacteria, bad bacteria in the semen, they are going to kill the semen and also make it dysfunction. So that is why we do polyphenol test, MDA test in the semen, as well as in the female vaginal tract. We do the testing and make sure there is healthy bacteria. We also give not only the testing reports, we also will suggest treatment, and also there are courses how to get in a good lifestyle to make a healthy pregnancy. Now if the bad bacteria is more in the female vaginal tract, then there will be preterm delivery. So before the child reaches full term, there will be preterm delivery because of these issues. So it is very important to do microbiota test in the both for the male and the female for healthy successful pregnancy. There is a big confusion among readers who tell that the unified depiction of symbolism of the 5 Panchabhutas or elements are very different from what they see in latest English yoga books and also mudra books, where the thumb is represented as fire and the middle finger as Akash, and also the other fingers are differently represented. So they are asking which is correct. We are saying unify is correct because we are following their original traditional books. Now in original traditional books like Ayurveda, Siddha and on chakras, you see that from the space element, which is the thumb finger, next comes the Vayu, next comes the Agni, next comes the Jala, next comes the Prithvi or the earth element. So we are using the same order. And also if you look at the Mooladhara chakra to Sahasra, the Mooladhara chakra represents the Prithvi. The same order you can see of Prithvi, then comes the Jala, then comes Agni, then comes Vayu, and then the Sahasra, the space. So the same order we see in Unify. But this does not match with the yoga books where it is shown in the random order, not in a particular pattern. And also in Shintoism, Buddhism books also, we see that the Japanese say they preserve the original Buddha's mudras. There also we see that it is in the same pattern where Buddha shows this as the space element and this as the earth element. So that is why we are seeing that they unify not only these things, all the pattern based education of the ancients can be correctly shown with this symbolic fingers, and it cannot be shown what we are seeing in the modern books. Everybody are asking what is this unify and as a connection with the 5 Panchabhutas or the 5 elements. Now this is the basic structure of the whole universe energy. The universe is only made up of energy, but in the 5 levels, and which is we call as the Panchabhutas. Now in Panchabhutas, the same pattern is also within us. Every one of us have the 5 aspects or elements. Now when I say my body, this body is nourished by the food that is coming from the soil. That is why this is the earth element. Now the mind is like the water, continuously keeps flowing, changing like our mind. So it is represented by the mind. Third is that the both are controlled by the intelligence. So that is like the fire. And that is why the fire is represented as the intelligence. Now all these 3 is connected to our own self. We can say these 3 are this is my body, my mind and my intelligence. That I-ness, minus, everything comes because of this awareness, and that is possible only as long as we are able to breathe the air. That is why this is represented by the air element. Now all the 4 fingers will be functional only if there is this thumb finger, which is a non-energy state. There is another state which we call as God or Shiva or anything that is not in the energy state and that is not really visible or tangible. So that is the space element, which has the same representation or having the same feature of the 5 elements. All these 5 is basic for every person anywhere in the world, any time period, and that is a basic for Ayurveda, or if it is for a government, or if it is for our family life or a personal life. In our Unify schools, we use the same 5 elements because that is where the mathematics symbols are connected to. These 5 are representing chemistry, physics, biology, art, dance, music. Everything is based on this universal energy pattern. So learning this, it makes us to understand every concept in high depth. This also means as the 5 views we can have about our life and this universe.